All right, everybody, welcome back to Candy Bar Creep Show, the third episode of Candy Bar Creep Show for that matter, the Christmas episode. It is December 22nd, 2023, year of our Lord 2023, soon to be 2024, and when January 10th rolls around in 2024, TobattoVision will finally know, well, I guess I won't know for sure, but I will be submitting for remonetization here on YouTube, and if it gets rejected, then TobattoVision might become a thing of the past, and this, in fact, might become the de facto final episode of the Candy Bar Creep Show saga overall, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully the channel gets remonetized, and we can return to business as usual. So with that said, I'd like to welcome you again to the Christmas episode of Candy Bar Creep Show. It's going to be a good, fun, simple, short time. Say hi to my Christmas version of Frankenstein's monster. This is the Tots Glenn Strange Frankenstein's monster mask. House of Frankenstein being my personal favorite Frankenstein movie of the original Universal Monsters franchise. I rehauled this mask back in 2021 to make him look like the cover of Monster World magazine, which had an original Don Post Frankenstein Glenn Strange mask painted with the white color scheme wearing the Santa hat. So I repainted this Tots Frankenstein mask to match that. I think it came pretty close. What do you think? I mean, look at this. That's pretty spot on. Well, not to toot my own horn or anything, but that's pretty spot on. I mean, let me get the angles correct. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Anyways, he's going to be keeping me company for the show. He's going to be sitting right next to me staring at me. Weirdly. But yeah, I did him back in 2021, and I'm very happy with the result. Very, very happy with the result. I love the way this mask looked on this magazine cover. This is obviously a posterized version of that original magazine cover blown up because the magazine wasn't this big. But I love the imagery here. Very, very freaky looking design. And there's something about Glenn Strange's monster I just found far more compelling than Boris Karloff. I know that's sacrilege to say. Everybody in the horror community is going to hate me, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. I just preferred Glenn Strange Frankenstein. It's bizarre, but it's the truth. So tonight on Candy Bar Creep Show, Episode 3, the December show, I want to take some time and really, I don't want to talk about anything, any movies coming out. I don't want to discuss reviews or dive into any kind of like video essay material. I just want to kick back and have a fun time tier listing some Christmas horror movies. Matter of fact, not just Christmas horror movies, but Christmas movies in general on Tier Maker. I'm not going to be ranking the movies because when you're ranking movies, you're putting them in order from least to best, like which one you prefer over and which one you don't prefer. I'm not going to be ranking them in that way. I'm just going to be using Tier Maker to put them in brackets of what I think the films are worth. Let me just show you guys Tier Maker so you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. So here we are on Tier Maker, and I didn't make this tier actually for this one. What I did was I went to Tier Maker and I found an existing tier, but since this is a non-horror list, we're going to go ahead and add a bunch of horror posters to it. So if you'll just indulge me for a second, I'm going to go into my desktop and I am going to add a bunch of my posters to it. Let's see what we got here. So Gremlins is already on the list. Grinch is on the list. Let's add these to it. Let's add this one. This one. I'm going to add some non-horror stuff too, just stuff I think needs to be here. But the list is already pretty good so far. It's missing a few things. Then once I get them all added, we'll mix the posters all up and get them sorted. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And if there's any redundancy here, I apologize. I don't think there will be, but there could be. I mean, who knows? Let's add a bunch of this. There we go. Can you guys all see that? Looks like they're all added properly. Excellent. Now I'm just going to mix them up. Mix them all up. Not in order of anything. Some are horror, some are not. As I was going through the list of available horror movies, there's quite a few, and I'm realizing that I haven't seen as many as I thought I did. And I don't own as many Christmas horror films as I thought I did either, which is very bizarre. I own a lot of Christmas movies and Christmas specials, but there's just not as much Christmas horror specifics in my collection as I thought there were before, which is very bizarre. Very, very bizarre. So here we are on Tier Maker. Here's the full list. And as you can see, I'm cutting off part of it. But once we start sorting through things, the list will dwindle down. Pardon my stutter. I am rambling. The list will dwindle down and you'll be able to see stuff better. So let me try and slow down my talking So I'll stop stuttering so much, and we'll get into this very cool, very Christmassy tier list situation. So is it unusual that I'm going to be ranking non-horror stuff here in TobattoVision? Yes, it's absolutely unusual. But in spite of having another ranking video on TobattoVision TV for non-horror stuff, I decided just to compress it all here in one video for the sake of Candy Bar Creepshow Episode 3. And maybe next year for 2024, if I'm still doing TobattoVision at all and not dead by that point, hopefully not, God willing, knock on wood. Maybe I'll do a separate non-horror ranking on TobattoVision TV and do an updated horror ranking here in TobattoVision again. But for here, Candy Bar Creepshow Episode 3, we're going to rank all these movies at once. It should be a good time. Let's go through them. The brackets or the statuses, or the titles, I should say, of each tier are as follows: legendary, great, good, bad, horrible, trash, and never watched. So those are the tiers of these movies. There's going to be a lot of stuff that ends up on the never watched pile, because there's a lot of stuff in here that I can see that I haven't watched before. So with that said, let's dive into it. We're going to go from left to right, top bracket to second, third, fourth, fifth row, all that stuff in between. We're going to start with it looks like it's the first on the list is the Jim Carrey Christmas Carol rendition, which somehow I own. I've owned it for a couple years. I think I owned it on DVD too, but I have not watched it ever. So I'm going to put it never watched. Somehow I've never seen that movie. I'm not really sure if it's good or bad. I've heard mixed reactions from people. I've heard people love it. Some people hate it. Some people are like, eh. It didn't really seem like it made a huge splash when it came out, but not a lot of these Christmas movies did. Or do, I should say, or versions of Christmas Carol. Not a lot of versions of Christmas Carol do make a splash for whatever reason, but never seen it, so that's where it's going to go. A Christmas Story, the original film. Now, this is going to piss a lot of people off. I don't think it's legendary. I think it's great. It absolutely deserves great. There's nothing wrong with the film. There's nothing I would change about the film. Maybe it's because I've seen it so many times growing up in school, at home, finished it, not finished it. There's so many times. Maybe that's the reason. But there's something about it that, although almost legendary, I'm going to put it in great. I feel like that's where it belongs. 50% of you have already tuned out, I'm sure, by this point. All right, next up is The Ultimate Christmas Present. It looks like it was the Disney Channel movie, I'm assuming. Have not seen it. Had never heard it before this list, so I have no idea about that. Sorry to all the fans of that movie, but I've never seen it. Next up is Charlie Brown's Christmas, which to me is like the ultimate Christmas special of all time. You can't do it any better. You can come close, like Garfield's Christmas special comes very close, but and this isn't a movie, it's a special, so it shouldn't technically count in this list, but we're counting it. So Charlie Brown's Christmas special absolutely goes in legendary. I mean, where else would it go? Where else would it go? The animation's great, the voice acting's great, the backgrounds are fantastically illustrated, the music is fantastic. Everything about Charlie Brown's Christmas works in the same way Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown just worked. Charlie Brown's Christmas is just fantastic. It totally puts you in the vibe of Christmas every time you watch it. That's why I always try to save it for late Christmas Eve. The same with Garfield's Christmas special. Always late on Christmas Eve. I love to watch both those specials. Puts you in the mood fantastically. Fantastic pieces of media right there. Next up, we have the original Black Christmas, which although I don't find legendary like most people do, I would probably put it in great. But with that said, it's almost good because I don't think it's as good as everybody has made it out to be. I know John Carpenter took a lot of inspiration from the film for Halloween, among other films. But there's something that's always sort of dragged on for me regarding Black Christmas. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about that movie. It's just something about it has never screamed masterpiece to me in the same way other fans of Black Christmas have had it, screamed at them. I feel like I'm in the minority here, but I'm just not a huge fan of Black Christmas in the same way everybody else is. For better or worse, I don't know. But that's where it lives. It lives in great. It should be almost in good, but it's right at the cusp, so I'm going to put it in great because I feel like that's where it truly belongs. It doesn't belong in good. It belongs in great. Next up on the list, we have Edward Scissorhands. Now, for all the Black Christmas fans who are going to be mad at me for this, Edward Scissorhands, not really a horror movie, but with horror tendencies, I should say, belongs absolutely in legendary. You could argue the film's not really a Christmas film at all, but I think it's sort of the heart of the film takes place in Christmas, the climax of the film. The most important parts of the movie take place on Christmas. The last battle, the last chase sequence, all that stuff, the snow, all that kind of stuff. The iconic imagery of Edward Scissorhands is absolutely associated with Christmas time, and it's sort of been adapted as a Christmas film. But legendary movie. A lot of really freaky imagery, a lot of really creepy imagery, along with a lot of really bizarre, surreal, comedic aspects as well. The color of the houses in the neighborhood, Edward Scissorhands doing people's hair. It's a bizarre movie. It's easy to look past how bizarre that movie is because you just think of it as another early 90s weird Tim Burton film, but it is absolutely bizarre, surreal, and sort of like Pee-wee's Big Adventure. There's sometimes a borderline between horror elements and the surreal, when the surreal sort of like converges with terror. So in that regard, but anyways, nonetheless, I'm rambling again. Edward Scissorhands absolutely belongs in legendary as far as I'm concerned. Next on this list, we have Arthur Christmas, which I have never seen and probably never will see because it does not look appealing to me at all. It didn't look appealing to me when it came to theaters. It doesn't look appealing to me now. So moving on to the original Die Hard, which is absolutely a Christmas film. Who are you kidding? Die Hard absolutely belongs. Where else would it belong in besides legendary? Absolutely legendary. John McClane crawling through the air vents. Everything about Die Hard is just so iconic, so fantastic, so absolutely filled with Christmas atmosphere. It blows my mind. Severus Snape as the bad guy is hardcore. The dad from Family Matters is absolutely on point. Everything about the movie this works so well. And now that we're talking about the movie here on camera, I'm forgetting all the specifics and the actors' names and stuff. But Die Hard is an annual watch for sure, has been for decades. Love the movie. Definitely a Christmas film, as is its sequel, but absolutely belongs in legendary. Next up on the list, we have Black Christmas, the remake, which I think came out in 2019 or 2020. I'm going to say 2019. Haven't seen it. Don't plan on seeing it. I've heard horrible things from everybody. I've heard nobody say it's a good movie or it's okay. I've heard everybody say it's trash. It's garbage. It ain't good. Don't watch it. That's not why I'm not going to watch it. It just doesn't. The 2006 remake didn't really appeal to me that much, and this remake had no appeal value to me at all when I watched the trailer, so I'm probably never going to watch it. If I catch it on streaming or have easy access to it in a way that I can watch it without spending money, maybe I'll catch it somewhere, but I'm not going to go out of my way to watch Black Christmas 2019 or whenever the hell it came out. So that's going in the never watched pile, among many other things. Elf on the list. This is going to make a lot of diehard Elf fans mad. I understand that. But Elf absolutely is going to go in good. I think it's good. I think it's very, very overrated as a comedy, as a horror, as a Christmas movie, as a classic, as a Will Ferrell movie. I think it's very, very overrated. The third act falls apart. There is no real climax of the film. It's just some random stuff happens in the park and he's got to save the day all of a sudden. It really has no palpable finale that just comes out of nowhere and then kind of just ends. It's very bizarre. Because of Shanna, who loves the film. I've seen it every year in a row for like 6-7 years straight now. Isabella loves the film somehow. She loves Buddy the Elf. So I'm sort of stuck in an elf routine now, which is for better or for worse. It's fine. They love it. I can enjoy watching the film. But I don't think it's great or legendary. I'm going to say it's good. 4 years ago, I would have said it's horrible. Then I would have said it was bad. I'm going to say it's good now. It's grown on me. It's not a terrible movie. I just think it's very overrated. But maybe in 10 years' time, I'll think it's legendary. Who knows? But right now, Elf definitely belongs in good. I have not seen this movie. Don't know what that is. Can barely even see what it says. Something about Alois? I have no idea. Maybe I have seen it and the title's not clicking. Maybe I'm saying the title wrong and I'll be like, oh yeah, that movie. But right now, I have no idea what that is. Next up is Four Christmases. Now, this movie was good. I put it in the same place as Elf. Definitely a chick flick, which is fine. It's just, I feel like it was a movie that could have been great or legendary. It just wasn't funny enough. It wasn't heartfelt enough. And it wasn't, it was sort of a short movie from what I remember. I haven't seen it since like whenever it came out. Was that 2000? I have no idea when it came out, but it was quite some time ago now, but, it It wasn't as great as it could have been. It wasn't as good as it could have been, but it definitely wasn't as bad as it could have been. And it was definitely enjoyable and worth watching more than once. I enjoyed the film. So with that said, I'm going to put it in good. That's where it belongs. I think good is a good, pun intended, good is a good slot for that film. Next up, we have the Frosty the Snowman animated classic, which is absolutely going in no, just kidding. It's going to go in probably good. It's good. I loved it. I've loved it since I was a kid. I try to watch it at least once every other year for Christmas, but I wouldn't say it's great or legendary. There's a lot of, it's just a very weird, it's not as good. Let's say this. I hate saying this, or having this mindset because it doesn't apply to everything. And I feel like a lot of people use it just as an excuse to say they don't like stuff as much as they were kids. But in this case, I think Frosty really was better when I was a kid. It sort of hasn't aged as well. It's sort of boring now, but the kids love it. Everything about it is fine. But I will say it's good. It's a Christmas classic. It definitely couldn't be demoted any more than good. It could be promoted back to great or legendary depending on my attitude as the years go on. But right now, I think it deserves to be in good. Moving on swiftly to Gremlins, the original Gremlins, which is absolutely a Christmas film, no doubt, belongs in great. Almost legendary. If you had asked me 15, 20 years ago, the film would have been legendary. Now, since I love part 2 so much more, I guess I always have loved part 2 more, but Gremlins sort of has, what's the word? It hasn't lost its quality in my eyes. It hasn't become a boring movie or anything. I still like it a lot. I just don't think it belongs with the likes of Christmas, Charlie Brown, Edward Scissorhands, or Die Hard. It's a great film. I love the film. I will always love Gremlins 1, the original. It's a fantastic Christmas movie. It's a classic. It's a monster movie. It's a spectacle. It's great. Everything about it is great. I wouldn't change a thing. It's violent when it needs to be violent. It's creepy. It's got that weird monologue about Santa Claus getting stuck in the chimney. It's an awesome film. Just something about it I wouldn't put in legendary. Now, maybe I'll swap this up later depending on how the list goes, but right now I'm going to leave Gremlins in great. You can hog tie me and tar and feather me later, but right now Gremlins belongs in great because we have other stuff to move on to, like Home Alone 1, which is obviously legendary, and Home Alone 2, which is also legendary. So when you have stuff like Home Alone 1 and 2 compared to Gremlins, Christmas Story, Black Christmas original, I think it starts to make a little more sense now where my headspace is at when I'm talking about these movies and putting them in tiers. Home Alone 1 and 2 are absolutely masterpieces. They're crystal skulls. They're I can't say enough good things about those films. The cast works, the story works, the music is fantastic, the pacing is fantastic, the editing is punctual and on point. The vibe of the film is great. The environments and locations are fantastic in both films. The characters are... I can't talk about Home Alone 1 and 2. I can't talk them up enough. All the kids who grew up, who are in my age category especially, love these movies. They're fantastic holiday films. There's some creepy imagery in both of them for sure, but there's a lot of heartfelt comedic moments, family moments. All you guys know the drill. Home Alone 1 or 2 are absolutely national classics as far as Christmas stories are concerned, as far as movies are concerned, as far as cinema is concerned for that matter. Home Alone 1 and 2 are absolutely legendary. I don't care what kind of list you're making. These two films, no matter what, belong in legendary tier status, in my opinion. Moving on to the next phase, which is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the original. I think that absolutely goes in great. I think it's better than Frosty the Snowman. I don't think it's legendary. Some people might put it there, but me, I think it's not boring. I've just seen it to death. I think it's maybe 5-6 minutes too long. I love the narration by Boris Karloff. I think it's fantastic. He did a great job. A lot of people probably don't even know that, but Boris Karloff, our resident Frankenstein's monster from way back in the day, did the narration in The Grinch. He also played the voice of the Grinch. So, very bizarre fact, but that's where it is. It belongs in great. Moving on to Jim Carrey's The Grinch, which I love. I think I love it more than the animated original. Sacrilegious, I know. My daughter loves this movie too. She loves both, but she loves the Jim Carrey one especially. Definitely goes into great. We watch it every year. We watch it in the off season too. It's just a great film. Back when it first came out in like 2000, 2001, 2002, I did not like the movie at all. I thought it was just boring and awkward and strange, but now I really come to like the movie and appreciate it for what it is. Good cinematography, good acting, great special makeup effects. I mean, bar none, fantastic props, costumes, makeup design. I mean, you can't get any better than this movie. It looks almost like it should be a Tim Burton movie. It's so bizarre, but it works so well for the story, and the production design is just on par. And Jim Carrey nailed it as the Grinch. I want Jim Carrey to come back for Grinch Night, a Halloween sequel to the Grinch That Stole Christmas. I think it's actually a prequel. The Grinch Halloween Night one from the 70s or 80s, I think. I think it's actually a prequel to the Grinch Stole Christmas, but I want them to make a sequel live-action movie to the Grinch Stole Christmas and have it be Grinch Night Halloween. I'm rambling. Let's move on. It's a Wonderful Life. I think it's a great movie. Actually, no, I think it's a good movie. I think it's very overrated. A lot of people argue whether it's a Christmas movie or not. You could really argue that yourself with the tone and the story and all that kind of stuff. I think it's good. I think it's a classic, but I don't love it as much as a lot of other people do. So let's move on to Jingle All the Way, which is absolutely great. I don't care what you say. It's not legendary. It's not good. It's great. It's easy to watch. It's easy to digest. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad are funny as hell. Great story. Phil Hartman's in it, which always blows my mind. Every time I watch Jingle All the Way, I always forget that Phil Hartman's in the movie. It's crazy to me. It is absolutely crazy to me that Phil Hartman's in this movie. But Jingle All the Way is fantastic. I love it. It's a Christmas classic, a 90s Christmas classic. We don't have many of those as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely belongs in great. Love Actually. Have never seen it. Don't really plan on seeing it. That's all I got to say about that. The original Miracle on 34th Street. Excuse me. God, it's a good movie. I don't have much to say beyond that. I've only seen it 2 or 3 times. Good film. I think the 90s movie was better, in my opinion. I think it came out in 94. It had the old man from Jurassic Park as Santa Claus. Or Santa Claus, I should say. But yeah, I think it belongs in good. Moving on to Harold and Kumar's Christmas 3D movie, which is the 3rd movie in the Harold and Kumar franchise. When I was in my college years, I loved the Harold and Kumar movies. Now they're incredibly awkward and unfunny to watch. They're just crude and awkward and a lot of weird... well, you guys know what Harold and Kumar's like. But the 3rd one came out a few years later when I sort of got out of my Harold and Kumar phase. I didn't see it in theaters, but I picked it up on DVD, and I really enjoyed it. I watched it last year or a year or two. I watched it either last year or the year before that, too, to kind of see if I still liked it. And it was pretty good. It wasn't as good as I remember it being, but it was certainly better than part 1 and 2 as far as I'm concerned. It was a good Christmas movie, but good stuff. I still enjoyed it. So with that said, Harold and Kumar is going to go in the good pile. It's not for everybody. It's not really easy to digest. Don't watch it with your family or your mom or your dad or anything like that. Watch it with friends. Make sure the kids aren't around. You'll have a good crude time, but definitely belongs in good. Not great, not legendary, not bad, not horrible, but good. Moving on to Miracle on 34th Street, the 90s version. I'm going to go put that in good as well, just like the original. I think it's better than the original version, but still belongs in good. It was nothing really to write home about. But I do remember it being kind of a big deal when it came out, the remake of Miracle on 34th Street. So good stuff. Good stuff. Next on the list, we have Mixed Nuts. Now, this is the worst Steve Martin movie on the planet. It's the worst one. I promise. It's just bad. It's boring. It's slow. The characters aren't good. The decisions aren't good. The music's not good. The comedy's not good. It's just, for a Steve Martin movie, a Steve Martin vessel, really, it's just not a good movie. And I hate to say that because Steve Martin's awesome. Funny as hell, usually. But it's just everything about this movie does not work, and I do not like it. I've seen it maybe 3 or 4 times total my whole life. I've never warmed up to it. The VHS days, the DVD days, to now. I don't like Mixed Nuts. It's just not a good movie. So I'm going to put it in. But is it trash? I don't know if it's trash. I've seen way worse. It's worse than bad, though. I'm going to say it's horrible. It's horrible, for sure. It's horrible. Let's call it what it is, people. Mixed Nuts is horrible. It's not a bad film. It's not a trash film. It's a horrible film. Brought to you by Starry. Moving on to National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Now, I don't know why people like this movie. I think it's absolute trash. I've hated it since I watched it as a kid. I don't see how you can actually like this movie as a normal human being. Just kidding. It's absolutely legendary. Christmas Vacation has probably become my number 1 favorite Christmas movie of all time. I like it better than Home Alone, I think. It feels sacrilegious to say, though, sometimes. But I think it's my number 1 now. It's just the whole Griswold family, the house, the coziness of the story, the vibe, the lights, the stuff everything about that movie works. I wish we had a 4-hour extended cut of the film. It's so damn good. You people out there in the audience know it's good too. It's a great film. It's a legendary film. Everything about it works. And again, my only complaint is that I wish it was longer. It's just too short. I wish it was 2 hours longer for sure. Yeah, but I can't say enough good things about that movie, and I don't think anybody can. It's a legend. It's a legendary movie. Moving on to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which for some reason is in this list, and it kind of goes back to my argument or my gripes about the more recent releases of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles featuring, like, look at that poster. You see presents on there, you see snow, you see ornaments. Now, it does snow in the movie, and it is about the holidays, but it's a Thanksgiving movie. It's not a Christmas movie. They're literally going home for Thanksgiving break. It's not Christmas at all, but it's been sort of lumped into Christmas via this holiday movie kind of thing, but it's inaccurate, and the cover art trying to make it look like a Christmas film is so weird to me. It's totally a Thanksgiving film. There should be like brown leaves and turkey and all kinds of stuff on that poster art, not gifts and like snow and and ornaments and stuff and green and red lettering and candy cane poles. Like, it's whatever. You guys know my problems with that cover art, but the movie itself is absolutely legendary. Like Christmas Vacation, Planes and Trains and Automobiles is an absolute juggernaut. It is a juggernaut of a film. It is an absolute juggernaut of a Thanksgiving movie, of cinema itself. It's just so damn good. Steve Martin, John Candy, top of their game, funny as hell, comedic timing, brilliance, great cinematography. I love the original score. A lot of people don't like the original score because like the boxcar harmonica vibe it gives, but I think it's fantastic. Everything about that movie fires on all cylinders. I can't say enough good things about it. And again, like Christmas Vacation, my only real complaint is that the movie's not long enough. It needs to be way longer than it is. That's just the way it is. But it needs to be way, way longer than it is. That's how I feel about it. Moving on to The Polar Express, based on the childhood book we all had when we were kids. I saw it once. I'm not sure if Isabella watched it with us or if we watched it before Isabella. I think she's seen it a couple times, and I've seen excerpts of it since I saw the whole thing myself, but I thought it was pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was boring. The animation was weird. The story wasn't presented in a very good way like the book did. I don't know. It just didn't work for me. I thought it was just a bad movie. It wasn't even that I didn't understand it or it wasn't for me. I thought it was actually a bad film. I know a lot of people, most of you probably love it. My kid, I think she loves it. I think Shanna loves it too. I liked the book, but something about this movie I just didn't like. It was very, and again, it wasn't because I thought it wasn't made for me. Because it wasn't. It was made for kids for sure, but I just found it incredibly. For a movie like this, with a budget like it had Tom Hanks, CGI, or full 3D animation, it didn't look good. It didn't sound good. The pacing was very bizarre. Really Uncanny Valley style animation with the mouth and the faces. Jerky animation. The story was boring. Everything about it didn't work for me. So it's going in bad. That's where it's staying. If there was a meh category, which I could have made, it probably would have been there. But right now, since there's only good or bad separating the two, it's got to go in bad. Moving on to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the original claymation or stop motion holiday special, I should say, definitely belongs in great. I love it. Sort of like Grinch and Frosty and all that stuff. I think it's on par with the Grinch. It's a holiday classic. I wouldn't say it's legendary, but it's probably on the cusp of being legendary. I think it's loving it as a kid and loving it now is way different, because as a kid, you just love the story. Now you're like, wow, all these are horrible people to Rudolph. They only treated him good when he had something to offer them. So it's really kind of a downbeat, depressing story when you really break it down. But you're not supposed to break it down because it's a kid's film. But with that said, I've always loved the stop motion animation. I love the bizarre quality of it. And Mumbles, the abominable snowman Yeti thing, has always freaked me out as a kid. It freaks me out now, especially when they take out his teeth. There's something so horrifying about that gaping black hole of a mouth that Mumbles has. Love it, but he's like Zuni-Doll horrifying to me. That damn Mumbles, the abominable snowman. Moving on to Scrooged, which is absolutely a Christmas horror film, and it's definitely legendary status. I don't care what you say. Scrooged is legendary. absolutely legendary. It belongs there. It's staying there. Bill Murray on point. The cinematography is on point. The original score and the contemporary soundtrack kick ass. The characters are great. The modern, or I should say contemporary, at least at the time, the 80s, the contemporary retelling of A Christmas Carol is absolutely delicious. Everything about it works. The horror, the comedy, the spectacle, the drama. It's just it's a masterpiece. And again, it's not a short movie, but it's not a long movie. But I could have used a 4-hour cut of Scrooge. It's that good of a movie. I almost wish Bill Murray would make a Scrooged follow-up in his old age, like maybe focused on his son or a young tycoon or something taking over the company, something like that. But just anything to see him in that character, in that environment again would be so awesome to me. Brought to you by Starry. Moving on to another holiday classic. It's absolutely a Christmas film. It is the original Lethal Weapon. There's a lot of debate about this movie being a Christmas movie because it sort of just takes place around Christmas and on Christmas. It's not really part of the story. But to me, there's enough Christmas elements on display in it and talked about and shown on screen to be a Christmas film. I watch it during Christmas time. With that said, you can't watch Lethal Weapon 1 without watching 2, 3, and 4 in quick succession thereafter. But part 1 at least is absolutely a Christmas classic as far as I'm concerned. If not more than Die Hard, I will take Lethal Weapon over Die Hard any day, but they both belong in legendary status as far as I'm concerned. Moving on to 2015's masterpiece Krampus, which this is going to piss a lot of people off, but I like it better than Christmas Story, Black Christmas, and Gremlins. I think Krampus 2015 is a quintessential Christmas horror film. It gets no better than this. It's a cozy watch. It feels right. The characters are great. The puppet and monster effects, both CGI and practical, are on point. The story is delicious. The acting's fantastic. Everything about Krampus fires on all cylinders. It's the exact right length it needs to be, as the just the right amount of scares, family fun, entertainment, comedy, drama, suspense. All the perfect elements come together to form the perfect Michael Dougherty Christmas horror film, Krampus, set in the same world as Trick or Treat, no less. But I think Krampus is very underrated, does not get the respect it deserves as far as Christmas horror movies go, and is highly underrated. And there's a lot of people who are like, oh, it's okay, or don't like it. That baffles me. But Krampus, legendary. I don't care what you guys say, legendary status. The same with our next choice. Oh, I'm sorry, not our next choice. Our next choice is The Snowman and the Snow Dog, an animated Christmas special from, I believe, 2008. It's a follow-up to the 80s classic, The Snowman. It was very good, very heartfelt, very sad and downbeat and depressing, but very good. I'm going to put it in... Actually, it wasn't even good. It was great. I've only seen it 2 or 3 times, but I loved it. I thought it was as good as a sequel to The Snowman could be. But fantastic stuff. Great animation, great story. Again, very sad, very somber, very downbeat. I wish it was a little bit more... The ending's really good and heartfelt and uplifting, but the movie is... the special is so... it's just got a very... depressing vibe to it. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But it's a great watch. It's definitely a Christmas classic that I don't think it's the recognition it deserves because it's so dwarfed by the original, which happens. But The Snowman and the Snow Dog are really good. And if you're a fan of the first film or the first special, you should definitely watch this movie. It's great. Moving on to Jack Frost 2, the horror classic, which I did not like. I think it was bad. It wasn't even bad in like a fun, cool, full moon pictures type of way. I just didn't like the film. I thought it was boring. I haven't seen it since it first came out on video. I rented it from Blockbuster. I think I've seen it twice. I think during the same rental period. At the time, I couldn't get into it. I don't think I can get into it now. But again, this movie is probably 20 years old at this point. But I didn't like it then. I doubt I like it now. I haven't wanted to seek it out and watch it. It's just bad. It's just bad. But correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, if you think you have the ability to do so. 8 Crazy Nights with Adam Sandler, the animated movie from, I think, 99 or 98, right? Or was it like 2000? I've surprisingly never seen this movie. Never seen it. Same with The Man Who Invented Christmas. Heard about it, never seen it. So there's that. Here we have a tricky one. A Christmas Story Christmas. It was a direct sequel to A Christmas Story. It came out in 2022. I think it went straight to HBO Max. It disregards the events of A Christmas Story 2, which was another direct-to-video sequel, which came out in like 2007 or something. That was a horrible sequel, but Christmas Story Christmas is perfectly aligned with the original film. I think it's a perfect sequel. It's true to the original. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't lessen anything. It's not just a novelty sequel. The acting's all very good. It looks good, sounds good, plays good. Everything about it is just really good. I really, really enjoyed the sequel. I want to watch it again before Christmas this year, if I have time. I probably won't have time, but it's a very good sequel. And if you haven't checked it out yet, I think it's still on Max. I think it just hit DVD and Blu-ray. Hopefully Blu-ray at least. It might have just been DVD. But Christmas Story Christmas is a fantastic follow-up to A Christmas Story. And I like it just as much as the original, if not maybe even more. I know that's sacrilegious to say, but again, I've seen the original too many times. This was such a breath of fresh air. Really, really good stuff. I'm putting A Christmas Story Christmas in great. Fantastic stuff. I don't care what you guys say. Christmas Story Christmas, Christmas Story Christmas, that's the title, is very, very underrated. Give it a chance. Watch it. You'll love it. I promise. Moving on to Christmas Evil. I think it's a very, very underrated Christmas horror movie. Sometimes I wouldn't even call it a horror movie because it's almost like a drama piece about mental illness for like the first, I forgot how many minutes it is, but it doesn't really start getting into horror elements until way later in the film when he actually starts killing people, in more quick succession. Bizarre film. Ending is totally bizarre with the flying van. It's so very underrated, very bizarre, very weird, but very good acting, very good practical effects, very moody atmosphere. It's very bleak. It's very nihilistic. It's got a very mean-spirited tone about it. I love the movie. I think it's very underrated. It's not legendary, but it's definitely great. Christmas Evil is great. If you've never seen it or you haven't seen it in a long time, brought to you by Starry. Watch it. I don't think you'll be disappointed with it. I think it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Moving on to Why Him? I have not seen this movie. I've seen the deleted scene with Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, which was an awesome scene, but I've not seen the movie. Didn't know it was a Christmas movie. Putting it in, never watched, because I've never watched it. Next on the list is Jack Frost. Not as bad as the first movie, or the sequel, but bad. Didn't enjoy it then. Didn't enjoy it a couple years ago when I saw it. Again, I haven't seen its sequel in 20 years, but I saw Jack Frost like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe. I forgot on what format, but I saw it and I didn't like it. I know a lot of people love it. A lot of my colleagues love it, but I didn't enjoy it. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just too lame, but I didn't enjoy Jack Frost at all. I thought it was pretty bad. Pretty bad. Christmas Story 2, the straight-to-video sequel. I think it came out in 2007. Maybe it didn't come out that long ago, but it came out pretty long ago. Maybe 2008, 2009. Straight to DVD. I think it was a Walmart exclusive special. I bought the DVD when it first came out way back in the day. I don't have it now. But that movie was mixed nuts bad. Matter of fact, it was worse. It was trash. It was absolute trash. Did not like it. The guy from Home Alone did a good job. His name, for some reason, is slipping my mind because I'm getting old and folded. But I can't watch the movie. There's something wrong with it, man. There's something wrong. It just feels wrong. Everything about it feels off, feels wrong. It feels too cheap. You can tell the budget wasn't there. It was just night and day difference between Christmas Story 2 and A Christmas Story Christmas. Watch it. You have to see it to believe it. Which brings up my next choice, The Muppets Christmas Carol. You have to see that movie to believe it, just the same. I'm going to say The Muppets Christmas Carol is great. Michael Caine was great as Scrooge. The Muppets all did very good. The Muppets are actually quite good actors when they want to be. It's only in some stuff that they flail in, but in The Muppets Christmas Carol, they were all on point, especially like Kermit and Miss Piggy. Fantastic acting tops in that movie, but holiday classic, childhood classic, not legendary, but absolutely great. Very good music. It's a musical after all. Stuff like that. It's very good. Very good. Next up on the list is the 2006 remake of Black Christmas. Saw it in theaters on, I think, Christmas night. When it came out, I saw it on opening night. I know that. Was that Christmas Day? That's bizarre. Well, whenever I saw it, I didn't like it. I didn't like it then. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it since. But at the time, I thought it was bad. So I'm going to put it in bad. Again, I need to reassess it because everybody I know on YouTube and elsewhere says it's a great movie, a good movie. It's almost better than the original. I hear that from everybody, but I have yet to see it again. There's I don't think there's an official release on 4K or Blu-ray, but there is a Blu-ray release that's it's from Spain or something, and it has an English track. So I've been thinking about buying that. I was going to buy it last year, but apparently this year was supposed to release this year, a new version for Region 1, and I guess it never came out, never even came to fruition in any way. So I might have to go back and just buy this Spanish version or find it on streaming somewhere because I do want to reassess it. But from one of my memories serves me, it was bad. And that's where it's staying. Moving on to Garfield's Christmas Special, the second best Christmas special of all time, right up there with Charlie Brown's Christmas, like literally neck and neck. Fantastic animation, heavily nostalgic, great heart, great emotions, very sad, very somber, but very uplifting and very happy at the same time. It's a very real, raw story wrapped up in a Garfield bow. Everything about it I love. It just screams childhood. It feels like, even if your family is not like the family in that episode, and your house isn't like the house in that episode, it just feels cozy and familiar. And you wish you could go back to days like that. Even if you never had days like that, as presented in Garfield's Christmas, you wish you could go back to them all the same. It's bizarre. And if you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Great special, legendary status, right up there with Charlie Brown's Christmas. Absolutely. Oh, the list is getting down. We're dwindling down this list, man. It's crazy. Next on the list is P2, which I've heard great things about. Haven't seen it. So there it's going to live. Next up to Silent Night, Deadly Night. Great. It's a great film. Fantastic. Underrated cinematography. The acting is good. The acting is really good, actually. The violence is good. I think the story is really solid. There's some cheesy moments, as there should be, and always is in movies of that era. Really, really, really good, pure horror movie. I think it's better than Black Christmas, for sure, as far as horror Christmas movies go. I think it's way better than Black Christmas. I had more fun with Krampus still, 2015, as it's in legendary status. But Silent Night, Deadly Night is absolutely great and better than Black Christmas, better than Gremlins, better than all that stuff in the great category as far as horror movies go. It's better. It's better. It's better than Black Christmas. I hate to say it. I almost want to put it in legendary because it's such a good damn movie. Such a good movie. But I'll keep it in great for now. Maybe I'll move it around. I don't know. It really is a legendary Christmas movie. Like, it's such a fun Christmas movie. It's better than Christmas Evil. Not as well made, not as well shot, I don't think, but it's better. It's better than Gremlins. Oh man, it might have to go. It's going legendary. It has to. It has to. It has to. It's legendary. I swear to God it is. The Nightmare Before Christmas, out of default novelty at least, goes in legendary as well. When I was a kid, I watched the movie. I had the action figures. I read the book by Tim Burton. I still have the original book version. It was like a wide rectangular book with hand-drawn illustrations, I think by Tim Burton. I think it either came out at the same time the movie came out or like a year before, but I had it as a kid, literally. I'm sick to death of it now. I think it's sort of ruined the novelty of Halloween and Christmas both. It's an oversaturation of that movie's IP at this point. I hate seeing it. I don't want to watch the movie anymore, but I still love it. I just never need to see it again. But I love it. It's legendary. It's better than great. It's legendary. Yeah, it's legendary. It has to be. It has to be. I'm still considering putting Gremlins in legendary, but I have to think about it more. I think I'd rather watch Gremlins than Nightmare Before Christmas, but the status and the story and the pros of Nightmare Before Christmas, I think outweigh Gremlins. I'm slurring and stuttering because I'm having such an inner conflict right now about these two movies, but for now we're going to leave it as is. I think Gremlins belongs in great. I think Nightmare Before Christmas, for novelty alone, belongs in legendary. Let's move on and come back to it. We'll come back to it. Let's go to Better Watch Out. Fantastic horror movie. A lot of the big plot twist was very surprising to me. Loved the way it played out. I've seen it once. I have the Blu-ray. I never really need to see it again, but I loved it. I thought it was fresh, good storytelling, punctual, paced well. Everything about it worked. The characters were believable. The evil little kid was great. It's great. It's not legendary, but it's great. Next up is Santa Claus with Tim Allen, the original 1994 classic. Legendary. It's not Scrooged or Planes, Trains or Home Alone legendary, but it's legendary in its own right. It's almost up there. It's one of the quintessential it's one of the quintessential Christmas movies of all time, I should say. Definitely top 5, top 10 at least. I can't say enough good things about it. Tim Allen's on point. It's funny. It's that perfect 90s era. Everything about it just works. It just works. The production design is off the charts. All the elves are awesome. The music's great. The contemporary soundtrack is great. Judge Reinhold is hilarious. Everything about the Santa Claus 1 is so good. It is so good. Props to the new TV show, too. The Santa Clauses. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic show. Better than parts 2 and 3, by the way. Let's go to Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, which is next on the list. It's good. I enjoy it. I like it better than Jack Frost 1 and 2, that's for sure. And Black Christmas 2006. I wouldn't really seek it out at this point. I've only seen it once or twice now. But Bill Moseley, I mean, he at least deserves good. It's a bad film, but it's a good bad film. But it's not one I want to watch all the time or even once a year. Maybe once or twice more in my lifetime, but I would say it's good. What I saw was okay. That's what I will say. Moving on to Trading Places, which could be considered Christmas. It could be considered a New Year's movie. Does it take place over Thanksgiving as well, or just Christmas and New Year's? I can't remember. But definitely it has very wintry Christmas vibes. And I will say Trading Places is absolutely legendary. Enough said. Dan Aykroyd, Jamie Lee Curtis, Eddie Murphy. Hilarious stuff. Hilarious movie. Great story, great acting. Everybody, all the actors all around in the whole movie, fantastic. Production design was great. Set design was great. The story was great. The comedic elements and timing were off the charts. Fantastic stuff. Not on the level of Scrooged as far as like legendary status goes, but it's up there. It's up there. You can't go wrong with Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy and Jamie Lee Curtis together in one film. It's fantastic. Fantastic for a lot of reasons. Let's move on to Call Me Claus. Looks like Whoopi Goldberg's in that movie. I have not seen it. So it lives there. Next up is Bad Santa, a Christmas classic from what I've heard because, surprise, surprise, I have not seen Bad Santa. I haven't seen it. So let's move on to Die Hard. Oh, there's a double. Look, there's two Charlie Brown Christmases. Whoops. So we'll leave that there. Die Harder, Die Hard 2 is going to go in good. I think it's a very good Christmas action movie. Nowhere near the first. I wouldn't consider it great either. I think it actually is. It gets kind of boring. It's absolutely dwarfed by parts 1 and 3 of the franchise, but it's still a Christmas film. Still deserves to be on this list. It's not a horror movie. It's good. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's good. It's good. Probably would have ranked it higher years ago, but now it belongs in good for sure. So we have a double of Charlie Brown's Christmas. We'll leave that there then. I haven't seen this Christmas DVD of SpongeBob. My daughter owns it. We have yet to watch it, so I can't really rank it. I think it's probably more than one episode, I'm assuming. If there's one episode called SpongeBob's Christmas, I have yet to see it, so there's that. Moving on to Christmas with the Cranks. This is a great family Christmas comedy. I've heard it, there's a lot of video essays I've seen where it says it's like, has like an underlying embracing of communism, which after listening to him, I was like, there are some weird things about this movie that I could totally see that being a valid point, but it could also be a bunch of people overreaching and overthinking. I just think it's a funny, underrated Christmas comedy with a lot of really bizarre behavior and antics and characters in it, but I love the film. Tim Allen's great. Jamie Lee Curtis is great. The movie is hysterical. Dan Aykroyd's in it too, which is hilarious to me that I always forget that they're both in Trading Places and this movie. So I wonder if there was ever a conversation on set like, you know, we did Trading Places, then My Girl 1 and 2, and then now this. It's bizarre. Like Dan Aykroyd and Jamie Lee Curtis did quite a bit of movies together, which is totally strange. Maybe there's more that I'm not thinking of. But anyways, I'm rambling. Christmas with the Cranks, very underrated. Christmas classic as far as I'm concerned. Not legendary, not good. It's great. That's where I'm leaving it. Moving on to the Santa Claus 2. It's not great. It's not legendary. It's good. Not a bad movie. Not a great movie. Better than part 3, but it's good. It's good. Tim Allen is still on point. I will say that he's probably my favorite on-screen Santa Claus off the top of my head. You know, like an actual legitimate on-screen Santa Claus. Tim Allen is just great in the role. It's fantastic. Let's move on to Ernest Saves Christmas, which goes in good. I'm not as big of a fan of the movie as I used to be, or as a lot of other people still are, which is fine. I think it drags a little bit. I think it's kind of poorly made. The cinematography is kind of bland. Not that you should expect much out of Ernest movies, but I do like the Ernest movies. I like the character. I love this movie. I just don't think it's great or legendary. It's definitely good. It's not bad, but it's probably better than Santa Claus 2 if I'm saying that much. You know what I mean? Let's move on to Maniac Cop 2, which I would assume, or I think is a Christmas film for sure. I would consider Maniac Cop, I can't speak. I would consider Maniac Cop 2 a Christmas film. I know it's sort of like Lethal Weapon and Die Hard, where it's sort of like in the periphery, around Christmas. But as far as a horror movie goes, Maniac Cop 2 is great. It's a fantastic sequel, scary movie, really gritty New York setting. Actors are great. The characters are great. The story's great. It's a really well-made sequel, especially considering its budget and when it came out and how it was made and all that stuff. I don't know if I like it better than the first movie. I think I still like part 1 better, but part 2 is it's a legendary horror film. And that VHS cover you're seeing there is the same cover the VHS cover had in Videoland. Always spooked me as a kid, that like dark silhouette, partially lit face of the Maniac Cop. His name is slipping my mind for some reason, like everything else. But great. It's almost legendary, but it's great. Moving on to Fred Claus. I've not seen it. All right, next up is The Grinch, the newer version of The Grinch, which I've seen. I've only actually seen the first half of it. I don't even think I've seen the whole thing, which is bizarre, but my kid loves it. I'm not even sure if she's seen the whole thing, but what I've seen, I wasn't really a huge fan of it, to be honest. So I think I'm really going to, I'm going to be fair. I'm just going to put it in the never watched section because I haven't finished it, so I can't really comment on the movie as a whole. So there's that. We'll just leave it in the never watched. Maybe by next year, 2024, I will have seen the whole thing. But the Tyler, the Creator version of The Grinch is kind of catchy, kind of annoying. It's half annoying, half catchy. So we'll leave it at that with The Grinch 2019 or whenever that version came out. I still think Jim Carrey's version reigns supreme. What do you think? Let's move on to... We're getting down to the wire here, folks. Let's move on to Home Alone 3. Did that movie even take place during Christmas? I haven't seen this movie since the 90s. I wasn't really a huge fan of it. Was that movie at Christmas? I feel like it wasn't Christmas, but I could be wrong. So I'll just pretend it was, but I'll tier list the movie as if it was a Christmas movie. I'll say it wasn't. Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was bad. That's the wrong one. It was bad. It was not good. I don't remember enjoying it. I think I might have enjoyed it the very first time I watched it, and then I watched it like a few months later for whatever reason, and then I didn't enjoy it. Us 90s kids really never got over the fact that Macaulay Culkin didn't return to the franchise. It's still kind of a blow. So there's that. Let's go to Home Alone, Taking Back the House. I've never watched the whole thing, so I can't really put it anywhere. I've seen about 90% of it. So I feel like I can comment on it better than I could The Grinch, the most recent Grinch movie. So I'm going to say it's trash. It's total trash. Never mind that it has the mean chick. I think she's in, what is she in? She's in all kinds of stuff back in the day. And it has the funny dude from the Drew Carey Show in it, but or not Drew Carey Show. Was it Drew Carey Show or was it Third Rock from the Sun? The guy who's always like this. I think it was Third Rock from the Sun, actually, not Drew Carey. Yeah, it was from Third Rock from the Sun. Whatever. I'm rambling, but the guy from that show, nobody could save this movie. It was garbage. Absolute trash. Let's go to the Michael Keaton Jack Frost movie. You know what? I wish there was a meh category or just okay, because it really was just okay. It wasn't bad. I wouldn't call it good. I would say I'm going to put it in good honorarily because like it's barely good. It would most definitely be like okay or meh if I had that tier list in here. But it's definitely not bad. It's just boring. It's well made. Michael Keaton's good, but it's just bizarre. The CGI is bizarre. He looks pretty freaky as the snowman. That's about the only plus. I don't remember too much else about it. I just remember I wasn't super impressed, but it wasn't bad. It just wasn't for me. So I'll leave it in good, but keep in mind that's barely good. Just Friends. Just Friends is absolutely great. It's almost legendary. It's one of the only Ryan Reynolds movie I enjoy, but it's absolutely hilarious. What what is that guy's name? The guy from American Pie. You have Ryan Reynolds. You have Amy Smart. That's her name, Amy Smart, right? Yeah, from Crank and Road Trip and all that stuff. Hilarious movie. Great movie. It's technically, I guess you can consider it a Christmas film. I wouldn't really think of it that way, but I guess it really is a Christmas film, so it's great. It's almost legendary, but it's great. I'll leave it in great. That's good enough. Last Holiday, haven't seen. Grandmother's House We Go, haven't seen. Medea's Christmas, haven't seen. Let's get all the haven't seens out of the way first, shall we? Let's get all the haven't seens out of the way first. I have not seen Unaccompanied Minors. I haven't seen Noel. Whatever version of Rudolph this is, I haven't seen. Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Oh, I've seen all these. The Hulk, looks like Hulk Hogan Santa with muscles. Whatever that is, I haven't seen it. Santa Buddies, haven't seen it. 'Twas the Night, have not seen it. All the other ones I think Office Christmas Party, have not seen it. Gonna move that over here. Not seen. So there's the not seens out of the way. There's the not seens out of the way. Let's get back up here. So we have Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. It's such a trashy film. It's bad in the best way. I think it's definitely better than Part 3. Although Part 3 does have its Part 3 has its moments, but I think Part 2 is better, but it's still good. It's not great. So we'll put it in good, but it's definitely better than Part 3, which is also in the good tier. But the infamous garbage day scene, that whole sequence, he shoots the guy through the garbage can, he shoots the person driving the car. That whole sequence is infamous now because of YouTube and people watching it on YouTube and stuff like that. But the rest of the movie is surprisingly good too. I always forget the name of the... Hey, Goober. Hey, look who's here. Monkey, come here. Say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
I'm just ranking all these Christmas movies and telling them about it. What do you think? Hey, real quick, before I finish, tell them which version of the Grinch you like best. Here, let's pause this for a minute.
I like that version.
This one?
This version.
What about this one?
Yeah.
And where's the other one? And this one with Jim Carrey. Do you like the cartoon old one, the live one with Jim Carrey, or the new one the best?
The new one.
The new one? I thought you liked the Jim Carrey one the best. Okay, folks, she's changed her mind.
I want to watch SpongeBob's Christmas.
We have that on DVD, but I don't think we've watched it yet.
Either.
Maybe we can watch that soon. Yeah?
Let's take this away. It's Slappy.
It is Slappy, you're right. All right, say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Slappy has a brother.
Does he?
Yes.
Next up is going to be the classic, The Snowman. Animated Christmas special from way back in the day. I think it was the early 80s. I've loved it since I was a kid. It's such a crazy Christmas animated special. I love it. It's perfect. It's sad. It's happy. It's somber. It's peaceful. It's bizarre. It's weird. It's quirky. Animation style is great. The music is phenomenal. There's no words in the film except for the intro and the outro, which are live action, and they turn into and then back from animated. Very, very cool. Very different. If you've never seen The Snowman, you have to check it out. If you have kids and they haven't seen it, you got to show it to them. It's a great Christmas special. It's in the best. It's definitely legendary status for sure. It is absolutely legendary for sure. It really doesn't get any better than The Snowman. If you want that weird Christmas vibe, but you don't want to watch Charlie Brown or Garfield's Christmas, watch The Snowman. It is totally, totally bizarre, and you'll love it. I promise you'll love it. It's perfect. It is absolutely perfect. Christmas Chronicles is next. Let's rank that. I'm gonna say it's good. Oh, where did I just put that? There it is. My mouse keeps getting stuck. I'm gonna say it's good. It's not the best. I didn't like it. I won't watch it every year, but I've seen it once or twice. I enjoyed it. I don't think I've seen part 2 yet, but I enjoyed what I saw in the Christmas Chronicles. I thought Kurt Russell did a good job, and the Goldie Hawn cameo at the end as Mrs. Claus was pretty funny. I know she's all the way in part 2, but I haven't seen part 2, or at least I don't think I have. But part 1's pretty good. Pretty good. Next is The Preacher's Wife. I guess that is a Christmas movie, like when you think about it. Yeah, Preacher's Wife. I remember this movie being a big deal. At least I think I do. Was that the 80s or the 90s? I think it was the 90s. I feel like that movie was like 93, 92. I could be wrong about this and thinking about something else, but if this is the movie I'm remembering, which I think it is, it was a big deal when it came out. I remember this poster being vividly in Blockbuster. Again, or at least I think I do. Let me look this up real quick, actually. The Preacher's Wife. I think that was 93. 96. Okay, so that makes more sense then. 96, I would have been more sentient and more aware than I thought I was. So yeah, Preacher's Wife, I remember it being a big deal. I've seen the movie a few times. The last time I saw it was probably 2005-ish. But I liked it. I liked what I saw. But I can't remember it that well, but I did think it was good. I did think it was good at least. I'll have to reassess that later on. Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Not a fan. I think it's pretty bad. Not the worst, not the best. Not horrible, but not good at all. Santa Claus 3. Part 2 is good. Part 3 is... It's not bad, though, because you still have Tim Allen. You still have Martin Short. I'm going to say it's good, but it's barely good. It should be in more meh or okay. So with that said, I'll say it's barely in good, right? Barely in good. And The Night Before, I'm going to put that in great. I love this movie. I think Anthony Mackie's awesome. I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I think Seth Rogen used to be funny. Now he's a nut job, a wacko nutcase. I don't want to hear anything that guy has to say besides seeing him in a movie, but I love this movie. I saw it in theaters back when it came out. What was that, 2016 or 2017? I loved it. It's been a classic for me ever since. It's almost legendary because I think it's that good. It's cozy. It's atmospheric. It's got that old school vibe. There's a lot of nods to old school Christmas films in it. It's got a good spirit to it. But there's just something about it that makes it almost legendary, but not quite there. But I love The Night Before. With that said, Seth Rogen is good in it and funny. I just don't. He's become such a whack job lately. It's hard to even go back and rate Seth Rogen material anymore, to be honest. But yeah, it's a great film, great storyline. The pacing's fantastic. It's funnier than hell. Very underrated. It's better than the Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas. I think very much better than that. That's sort of I feel like. If it's anything like any other movie on this list, it's probably the most like that. But it's not the same as that, but it's similar to it in vibe, if that makes any sense at all. If that makes any sense at all. I don't know. If you've never seen The Night Before, it's a masterpiece. Watch it. Not legendary, but good. I would probably, if I was rating the movie, maybe I'll rate it next year. It would probably be a masterpiece. It wouldn't be a Holy Grail or Crystal Skull, but it would probably be a masterpiece because it's that good. That movie needs a 3-hour cut for sure. I need to watch that. I really need to watch that, but I'm out of time. There's no time left to watch anything. So, but there it is, folks. That is it. That is the rating, at least of this tier list on Tiermaker. That is my rating of all these Christmas films. As you can see in the top row, there's Charlie Brown's Christmas, Edward Scissorhands, Die Hard, Home Alone 1 and 2, Christmas Vacation, Scrooge, Planes and Trains, Lethal Weapon, Krampus, Garfield Christmas, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Nightmare Before Christmas, Santa Claus, Trading Places, and Snowman. I'm going to leave everything else as is for now. I'll probably regret putting Gremlins in great and not legendary, and I'll probably regret not putting Night Before in great and not legendary. You know what? Boom. Boom. I'm feeling boom. I'm feeling giving right now. Boom. Boom. Shh, don't tell anybody. Oh, man. See, that was fun. I had a good time with that, with this third episode of Candy Bar Creep Show. Again, I can't promise there'll be a fourth episode for the five of you that have watched Candy Bar Creep Show. I appreciate the views. I hope you guys have a good Christmas, have a good holiday season, have a good New Year's. If I don't see you before then, I'll see you guys in January. And again, we're kind of building up to January 10th as sort of the penultimate D-Day for TobattoVision. That's when I reapply for monetization, and then a few days after that, I'll get my answer, and then I'll either decide the future of TobattoVision, whether it's good or bad. But we have a lot of content coming out before then, both here and on Tobato Tunes and on TobattoVision TV, all building up to the 10th. A lot of stuff coming out every week on all those channels. And that's the plan. So have a good, safe Christmas. Don't drink too much. Don't drink and drive. Keep an eye on the kids. Drink lots of eggnog, drink lots of Christmas ale, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.